Hey y'all, it's your girl Stephanie. This is Wrestling Color Podcast right here on YouTube. Make sure you thumbs up the video, please, and subscribe. Both of that is free. Get into what I got going on. Over 300 podcasts. I can't believe it. That's like 3 years. And in between time, I was doing school and all that. Oh, we came a long way, haven't we? And I appreciate each and every one of you. So go ahead and turn on notifications if you want to go ahead and keep up with what I got going on. And make sure you hit me in the comments, please. Hit me in the comments and tell me what you think. That's all. What we talking about? We talking about your favorite, Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rousey. I just want to have a little retrospective. Since Ronda had her last match here at SummerSlam, and it was not deemed a success. I thought it was awful. The stipulation was mixed martial arts, and I guess she would. I mean, I was watching it. No, you know, I did fall asleep a couple times, but I was watching it, and I didn't think she whipped fucking Shayna Baszler ass like that. I might have to watch that shit back. I didn't think she beat her up. Shayna got on all kind of casts, her eyeballs and shit hanging out. I was like, damn, what the fuck was I watching? I didn't see all that. But anyway, I just want to have a little retrospective, because although I'm not a fan of Ronda, never been, I find her to be, you know, very one-dimensional and extremely cocky, which is fine. I think she did what she could do with what she was given. A lot of contradiction. A lot of things got lost in translation. I think sometimes WWE didn't do her no favors, and she didn't do herself no favors. I think the main difference between Ronda's first run and Ronda's second run is, first of all, the wrestlers that were available to her. Triple H and Stephanie McMahon played a huge role in that WrestleMania match that Ronda had with Triple H and Stephanie McMahon was fun. And the fact that Triple H allowed Ronda to beat his ass like that really set the tone and the bar for what her run was going to be like. WWE, in their defense, put all the eggs in Ronda's basket and said, go ahead and take it. Fuck these other bitches. We didn't see nobody but Ronda, Becky, Charlotte, and sprinkled in a little bit here and there, Bayley and Sasha when she was there. She had better people on her to fight with. That's the first thing. She had better people to fight with. I will say that. You look at this roster now, there was no one for Ronda to legitimately have a fight with where I could suspend my thought process and say, you know what, she could actually whoop Ronda's ass. And the only person that was Raquel Rodriguez, but they wouldn't pull a trigger on her and let her beat her. Because she didn't have nobody to wrestle for real, her in-ring performance sucked. Ronda, she has a wiry body as it is, so when she hits the floor and stuff, she knows how to sell for the most part. I will give her that, but it's like it was not connecting. It was very clunky. There was no chemistry with anybody in the ring. I honestly think some of the ladies this go round just didn't want to fuck with Ronda, and it showed. I really believe that. What else was going on? Her first run, I think that was the biggest thing. And not to mention, when she came back this go round, everybody was pretty much prepared for her to come back, and it just sucked. Like when she came back and was pointing at the ring, and it was just like, who gives a fuck? Like, why is this bitch here? And that was the tone for her second run, was, why is this bitch here? If you had to give a tagline, Ronda Rousey saves the women's division, is her first run, and the second one is, why is this bitch here? That's her tagline. Her first run, it was a lot of first. They had the very first Evolution pay-per-view. That was like huge, and everybody was like, oh man, this is like a big deal, and it just seemed to usher in such promise and hope. And I remember all the ladies were just like so excited, especially like Bayley and Sasha was hugging, and they just knew something was going to change for the women, and nothing happened. Nothing happened. Everybody came together. She whipped the Bella Twins ass in the main event. The pay-per-view itself wasn't all that great. They didn't really put no effort into the women's evolution. I will say that to this day. They didn't give it no new sets or nothing. It was just like, let's just use Teal and, you know, put them hoes on TV so these other bitches to shut up. They made it seem like Ronda was the face of the whole women's evolution movement, and that rubbed people the wrong way. First go round, she was a PR wet dream. Public relations was on top. Ronda, the biggest agent out of, you know, the UFC, coming to the WWE. Everything was just so exciting, and she's gonna put eyes on the product, so she got the push. She got a fantastic push. She didn't have to sit on the mic and talk when you got Becky Lynch and even robotic ass Charlotte talking with you. When you got Alexa Bliss talking and willing to take a bump. I think Alexa Bliss got fucking concussed, but whatever. You know, this go round, it just was off. It just was the steam sucked. She was in, just, you know, didn't have to fight. Came in there like, yeah, bitches, y'all gonna do what I want y'all to do. And it just the lackluster. I honestly think it's because she had her kid, and doing that grueling ass schedule at WWE has a schedule that is notorious. Everyone said it. You are on the road for majority of the year. You could barely see your family, and if you are one of the lucky ones like Becky and whoever got kids and they could bring their kids on the road with them because they make that type of money, or you're married and you could travel with your hubby or your wife and keep that that connection, it's probably difficult living a solitary life. And I'm sure it's difficult for her because she got farms and shit. And then when they put her on Total Divas, let me tell you something. A lot of people were against Ronda being on Total Divas. And I said, well, Total Divas, I mean, it will open us up to more of who Ronda was. It did no favors for Ronda. It actually canceled the damn show. That's how bad it was. That last season was a fucking disaster. So let's get into this. Mick Foley wrote a very long ass praise message to Ronda, and I kind of want to get into it because when I was reading it, some of the stuff Mick Foley says I can agree with. So I'm gonna bounce around as best as I can because I don't want to make this longer than it needs to be. So Mick Foley said it'd be easy to dismiss Ronda's time in the WWE as something of a disappointment. Maybe she never became as loved as Becky Lynch, as proficient as Charlotte or Sasha, or had a great long-term story arc like the one Rhea Ripley is currently enjoying as part of the Judgment Day. I haven't always been watching the product as intently these past few years as I have for the previous 40. But what I did see, coupled with a pretty good gut feeling, is that Ronda wasn't quite as invested emotionally for her second run as she was for her first. I agree with Mick on that. Motherhood was a way of defining priorities, and rightfully so. But I firmly believe that her first one was not only incredibly impressive in the ring, but more consequential in introducing new eyeballs to the product, injecting major dose of credibility in the general public's perspective, and the professional wrestler. Now, he's giving her a lot of credit there. I don't agree with some of that, but I do agree with him on motherhood. And if I didn't say it already, I actually had a podcast asking 1 year ago what was wrong with her, what was wrong with Ronda. Something was missing, and I said she got baby brain, and I went on to explain to you all what that was. Continuing, he said Mick Foley said he was in the crowd with Dwayne Johnson and had introduced Ronda to a thunderous ovation. This is before everyone heard Ronda speak, because back then Ronda didn't do too much talking. Ronda just showed up and kick ass and left. And that was her mystique till she got kicked in the fucking head. But anyway, she was quite simply the baddest woman on the planet. See? And while the back-to-back defeats she suffered in UFC may have taken a little shine off of her, Ronda was this incredibly sparkling diamond in the rough when she made her debut in WrestleMania. The match she teamed with Kurt Angle to take on the power couple of Triple H and Stephanie McMahon was his favorite. And that was the match that I give kudos to Triple H for putting her over, because that's essentially what he did. And Stephanie, listen, Stephanie, and no one gives her flowers. I might have to give her flowers, because Stephanie plays the role of a bitch billionaire daughter better than anybody else. Just her running away and getting put in the arm bar and willing to take bumps just is a joy to watch. I specifically remember watching the show with friends during this incredible moment where she had Triple H rocking and reeling in the corner. I just yelled out, she not punching, she not phoning it in. She certainly wasn't. Ronda Rousey took pride in what she did, worked diligently to become really good, really fast, and as she progressed, had good to great matches with a variety of opponents. Without Ronda, it's highly unlikely WWE would feature a women's match as a main event he's saying WrestleMania 2019 wouldn't happen if it was because of Ronda. And he said, I still believe the real marquee match would have been Becky versus Ronda in a single match. But nevertheless, let the record show that Ronda Rousey main evented WrestleMania just 1 year of professional wrestling experience. I agree. I think that match could have been groundbreaking had Charlotte kept her fucking ass out the way. I really think Charlotte made the match even worse. And the botch where Ronda's shoulder wasn't pinned. It was so much fucking going on. It was supposed to be Becky versus Ronda. And we're never going to get it. And that sucks. He went on to say, I would put Ronda's rapid progress up there with that of Steve Austin, Kurt Angle, and The Rock. I wouldn't say that. Because it took a while for The Rock to get where he had to be. And that's because he had to be propped up by the Nation of Domination and get some type of swagger on his ass. That's where he got that from. Stone Cold will tell you it took years before Stone Cold became Stone Cold. And Kurt Angle, I would put Ronda in there with Kurt Angle. I would. Kurt Angle never took himself seriously, and that's what made him lovable. And then, you know, the infamous quote-unquote Perk Angle is just in a class by himself, although he does not like that, guys. He went on to say, if Ronda had an Achilles heel as a performer, it was that all of her mistakes were made on the big stage, and that her wrestling character did not evolve as quickly as her in-ring skills did. She was a one-tune woman, always have been. I only met I don't know why I'm tongue-tied. I only met Ronda once during the first run in the company. But I remember watching her and marveling at how much fun she was to watch interacting with her peers, her WWE peers. This was during a time when Bo Dallas and Joe Hennig were teaming as the B Team. I specifically remember Ronda just lighting up faces of those around her with some type of little dance she did ringside with the B Team. I remember thinking how comfortable she looked and how supported she was. I specifically remember thinking that if she could take a little bit of what I saw of her ringside and put into her character, she could become one of the great performers of wrestle history. I don't think most fans equate Ronda with humor or with warmth, but those were qualities I saw on display. Those were qualities I really believe could have been put to work. For the time being, at least, I will be left to wonder what if. But while those two words, what if, may remind me of what Ronda Rousey could have become in WWE, they don't lessen what she actually was. A great worker with love and respect for WWE that benefited everyone around her. Now, to wrap this up, Mick is a nice guy. Everyone knows that. He almost died for the company. Here's the thing. Ronda and her missteps were glaring when she did the whole kayfabe thing and upset people. When she came back and appeared to not give a fuck and had terrible matches, it left a bad taste in people's mouths. I do appreciate her trying to put her friend Shayna over, but Shayna didn't get over. It did nothing for Shayna. But I will say, if Ronda decides to come back a year or two, I hope she comes back as herself. On her Instagram, she cracking jokes, she's twitching, she's doing all kinds of stuff that shows her personality. I hope she fights for that. I would agree with Mick Foley. Fight for that. Come back and really want to do it. When she came back the second round, it oozed of, I'm here to make a paycheck. I don't give a fuck what y'all talking about. And that might not have been true, but that's what the perception was. I honestly think she did not help the women's division this go round. The women's division was already gutted and destroyed, and she further put the nail in the coffin. So to wrap this up, her first one was better than her second run. I don't know what her third run was going to be like, but I will follow Ronda when she goes back to the UFC, because I want to know how those people are going to treat Ronda. I want to know how they're going to treat her, because she left beat, bruised, and battered. Now she might come back wanting to claw her way to the top with a very lackluster shine to this diamond that Mick Foley saw. So what do y'all think? If you made it this far, tell me what you think in the comments, or just tell me what you think, period. Hit me. Talk to you later.